Welcome to online class. This is Sheila, your computer science teacher. Last class we saw chapter 10, flow of control. In that we saw if statement, if else statement, while loop, do while loop, for loop, etc. Isn't it? So what is if statement? If statement is nothing but if the condition is true, the statement will be executed. If the condition is true, the statement will be executed. That is all about your if loop. What about if else? If else is nothing but if the condition is true, the first statement will be executed, else the else part will be executed. Say for example, I can say like this, isn't it? If school is working, if school reopens, I will go to school. Else I will not go to school. What does it mean? If school reopens, you will go. If the statement is true, the first statement will be executed. If not, what will happen? The second statement will be executed. That is all about your if else. Even you have different types of loops. I mean nested if else and all. So what is nested if? If you have if inside another if function, another if function, then it is nested if. What about while for statement? For is nothing but you will have three statements inside it, isn't it? Initialization, test condition and increment or decrement. What is initialization? Assigning a value. What about test comparison? Comparing. Like if I is greater than 10, I lesser than 10. Yes, that comparison is going to be test comparison. Increment or decrement, I believe you people remember I plus plus and I minus minus and all, isn't it? What about while loop? While loop is going to be an entry loop, entry checking loop. What is entry checking loop basically? In entry checking loop, you will check the condition at the beginning itself and then you will execute the statements. In do while, it is not going to be like that. It is going to be exit control loop. What is exit? You will execute the statement at least once, then you will check for the condition, that is do while. See, your while, for and do while are all termed as looping. Loop is nothing but repeating a process again and again. It is termed as what? Looping. Clear? Now let us move on to the next lesson, chapter 11, functions. So what is a function? Function. So generally when we talk about function, what is meant by function? Yes, generally any event we will call it as function. Yes, let us consider birthday party as a function, in that the main part is going to be cake cutting, isn't it? So that will be a part of a function. Yes, the same way if a birthday party is a program, if birthday party is going to be a program, cake cutting is a function. Able to follow? A part in the main a part of a program in the whole program is going to be a function. Yes, and what is the use of these functions? It actually avoids complexity. What is complexity? Say for example, if I wanted to write a program with a same code again and again, same code, say for example adding of two numbers has to be repeated for 50 times in a program. So what happens is again and again writing adding of two numbers program inside a biggest program is going to be tedious, isn't it? So to avoid it, what we will do is we will write the program once and we will use it again and again. That is what is the use of your functions. Generally a large program can be split into sub-programs and they are called as what? Functions. Yes, and each sub-program can perform some functionality. Each and every part of a program will do some work. That is what is termed as what? Functions. Functions reduce the size and complexity of the program. As I already told you, if I wanted to use addition code for 50 times, the length is going to be too much. The work is going to be tedious as well. So we are going to avoid the complexity and the size of the program using functions. Yes, it is easier to understand, it is easy to test, it is easy to check for errors. See, finding errors in a large storage is going to be a problem. Yes. And if things are sorted, it will be very easy. Isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. That is what is the use of a function. So functions are of two types. One is going to be built-in, the other one is going to be user-defined. What is built-in functions? Which is actually available in the code itself. If a function is already available in a code, then it is built-in function. If I am creating a function, yes, if I am creating a code on my own, it is going to be termed as what? User-defined function. See, what is built-in function? Functions which are available in C language, standard library is going to be your built-in functions. We use IO Steam, we use stdio.h, isn't it? Standard input output header file. Why do we use all this? It is because every prototype is going to have predefined functions, and to use it, even when you write int main, yes, when I write this int main, in every program we write this, isn't it? Anything that is going to come with this braces is going to be termed as what? Function. Clear? So what about user-defined function? Functions that are created by the users. Now let us see the needs or the usage of using functions. It reduces the size and complexity of the program, and we make sub-programs. We make use of sub-programs. Rather than writing the same code again and again, we can create sub-codes and we can use it again and again by just calling a function. Yes. Next, you have divide and conquer. What is divide and conquer? The complicated problem can also be divided into small sub-problems, and that concept is actually applicable in your function concept. Yes. What about the next advantage? We can say this, isn't it? If a program is going to be very small, finding fault is going to be easy. Yes or no? If I ask you to find a missed purse of mine, I missed my purse, and there are thousands of people in the same room. I missed my purse and I wanted to search it. Is that possible for me to find the purse and locate it very easily? No. Whereas in case in the room, if only one is going to be there or if only two is going to be there, will it be easy for me or not? It is easy for me to find. Why? It is because it is very easy to find things when it is sorted than in a group. Yes, that is what is actually applied in your functions also. A programmer can focus on developing. Developing is creating or writing a code. Debugging is nothing but error checking and testing individual functions. Next, many programmers can work on different functions simultaneously. What happens? Many programmers keep working on different functions simultaneously. What about reusability? Reusability is nothing but you will use the codes again and again repeatedly. Yes, I already told you, right? Instead of writing 50 times the same. Yes, duplication of the same code is also eliminated. Some functions can be called multiple times with different inputs. Say for example, I wanted to add two numbers, and adding of two numbers is going to be different. First time I will be adding, then rather than adding of two numbers, we will change like this: adding of marks. So in the class, if there is going to be 30 students, for each and every student the subjects are going to be common, but 6 subjects the marks is going to be different. So what happens? I wanted to apply the same addition process for all 30 persons. Yes. So what we are going to do? You are going to do the same process but with different input, different marks. Yes, that is also possible in using your functions. Then comes your types of functions. Functions can be classified into two types. What are they? Predefined or built-in or library functions. In case in 2 marks, if they are going to ask you built-in functions, or if they are going to ask you predefined functions, or if they are going to ask you as library functions, all are same. anything that is actually available in your header file, any code, any function which is actually predefined in your library files itself, it is going to be termed as what? Predefined, built-in or library functions. What about user-defined functions? It's a function that is actually created by the user. When we develop, we write, and that is what is termed as what? User-defined functions. Let us consider your predefined codes. Already we talked about predefined codes, isn't it? This part actually speaks about what? Predefined or built-in functions. See, you will have a header file. In this header file, what happens is, whatever function I'm going to use, I already wrote main, isn't it? Let it be main or gets, G-E-T-S, gets with a parenthesis. All this is going to be what? Predefined functions. I hope I'm not clear, isn't it? G-E-T-S. This is a function. P-U-T-S. This is also a function. G-E-T-C-H-A-R. The same way, P-U-T-C-H-A-R. Get care, put care. All these are predefined functions which is actually created by the library functions themselves. Yes. And if we are going to create something, it is going to be termed as what? User-defined functions. We do it with the requirements that we know. What are all the requirements is actually needed? We will get that all in our mind and we will process it, isn't it? That is going to be your user-defined function. C++ header files in built-in functions. Your IO stream, input-output stream, is going to be a header file. stdio.h is a header file. stdio will always come with a .h extension, which means it is a header file. Yes, std stands for standard input output header file. We talked about gets, puts, get care, put care, isn't it? All these are actually used in stdio.h. Yes, I already told you stdio.h is a header file which is actually termed as what? Standard input output functions. Yes. Next comes your standard input output functions. I gave you examples, isn't it? Get care, put care, gets, puts and all. What is this get care, put care? Character. What is character? An alphabet. A to Z, let it be any alphabet, it is going to be termed as what? Character. Only one alphabet at a time. Yes. Gets, it is going to be a collection of characters which is termed as string. Get string, put string. This yes represents what? String. Get string, put string. And this char represents get character, put the character. Here we can get only one character. Here we can get collection of characters. Yes, that is termed as string. Collection of characters is termed as what? String. Yes. Now they have given a code. Let us see that. I think you people know, when you are very well about, clear about header files, isn't it? Already we know IO stream, and now we have included an stdio.h because we are going to use what? Get character. Because of what? Because we are going to use get character. Because of that only what happens? We are using this stdio.h. Fine. Now let us move on with this. Your execution always starts from main. See out, type a character. This will be printed as it is. Yes. Now what happens? Get character. We are getting a character from the user. Now you must get a doubt. You said get character is a predefined function, but you are getting the input from the user. How it is possible? Get character is a function. That's it. It can get the values from the user. It is a function that actually calls the user for asking for a alphabet. So say for example, let me give it as A. So CH will be equal to what? CH will be equal to A now. the entered character is, this is in double quotes, this will be printed as it is now. Next you have put character, put care of ch. What is the value that is available in ch? It is a will be printed, type character will be printed, the entered character is will be printed. Along with that, in this what will happen, this will act as c out now, and this will act as cn. This will act as c out, and this will act as cn. Clear? Cn for what? Ch. And this is for c out for writing ch. Yes. Check for the result now. Type a character which is actually in the double quotes is printed as it is. We are getting a character from the user. They have got it as T and I got it as A. And next what happened? We had the entered character is, that will be printed as it is. And here we are printing the value that we got from the user. Yes, this is all about what? Predefined functions. Yes, get char, put char. The same we can do for gets and puts also. What about gets and puts? Why do we use gets? Gets is for reading the contents. Yes, for getting the contents from the user. Yes, and puts is for printing it in the screen. Yes, that's it. And here we are going to do what? We are going to do whatever is being done by get char and put char. But what we are going to do is, we are going to write in string. String is nothing but collection of characters. Clear? See here we have another example. Again you have stdio.h because we are using gets and puts. What will happen if I am using gets and puts without using this header file? Without this header file, what will happen? You will have an error telling this is not, this file does not exist, or this does not support. You will get errors like that. Clear? Now let us move on with the main code. Your execution always starts from main. And how many characters are you getting? See, this is nothing but an array. What is this? This 50. It is nothing but array. This we will learn in future classes, but let me tell you the basics of it. Array is nothing but a homogeneous collection of data items. It means same data items will be collected. Yes, str is going to be of what type? It is going to be of character type. str is going to be of what type? Character type. Yes, str is going to be of character type. And how many alphabets it is going to take? 20 alphabets. Let it be anything interesting. Let me get it as computer science. Yes, gets of computer science will be obtained here, and see out you entered, puts of whatever we obtained for this str will be printed in your puts. That's it. Yes, clear? Now let us see the next function, next functions, which is called as character function. To avail this function, we have to use a header file called ctype.h. See, for get char, for gets, puts, put char and all, we were using stdio.h header file, right? The same way, if we wanted to avail is all num, few other functions of this, what we have to do is, we have to include a header file called ctype.h. Yes, only then we can avail the following functions. Let us see one by one. Yes, is all num. All num is nothing but it just checks whether it is going to be an alphabet or numbers. Yes, it just checks whether the character whether the character is an alphanumeric or not. And if it is going to be an alphabet or a number, it returns non-zero value. And if it is going to be something else, what does it do? It returns 0. Yes, examples of everything is going to be here. See, int is all num character C. This is a general format, and examples are here. Int r is all num of 5. 5 is a number which is going to return non-zero value. Is all num of a. Num of a is also what? This is also what? This is also an alphanumeric, so it returns what? It returns an something other than 0. Now explain this code. What will be the answer for this? Yes, character C is equal to dollar. So for C, what happens? For C, we have assigned dollar symbol. For C, what we have assigned? Dollar symbol. And int n is equal to is all num of C. So for C variable, what we have assigned? Dollar. So for instead of the C, what will be the value that we are going to check? Dollar. Is dollar an alphabet or a number? It is neither an alphabet nor a number. So what it is going to return? 0. Because for alphabets and numbers it returns non-zero values. For other things it is going to return 0. So the value will be 0. Let me repeat. Listen carefully. Character C. C is a variable, and for that variable we have assigned what? We have assigned what? We have assigned dollar. Yes, dollar. And another variable, and we are declaring that as n, and it is going to be an integer. And now we are going to check whether the given character C is going to be an alphabet or a number. As we check, what is being assigned to this? Dollar. Is it an alphabet or a number? It is neither an alphabet nor a number. So what will it return if it is going to be if it is not going to be an alphabet or a number? It is going to return 0. In case if it is an alphabet or a number, what will it return? It will return non-zero values. Very good. Now here is a sample code. Yes, as you take the sample code, here you have 3 header files, isn't it? So when do you use this stdio.h? When we use getChar, putChar, gets, puts and all. When do you use the C type? When we use this is all alpha num. Yes, is all num. If I am going to use this, what happens? Is alpha num. If I am going to use those type functions, what happens? I have to use the C type dot h header file. Yes. Now let us move on to the program. Yes. I believe it is visible for you now. Yes. Your execution always starts from main. Yes. Your execution always starts from main. Yes. And now let us take a variable ch is being declared as a character, and you have r which is being declared as an integer. Anything which is being given in the double quotes will be printed as it is. /n will take it to the next line. So type a character will be printed. Yes, I hope you will understand. It is type a character. Yes. Next what happens? We are getting a character for this ch. This is going to be obtained from the user. Yes. Let me get it as a. I have got it as a now. So this a is being assigned to ch now. R is equal to is alpha num of ch. See, I have obtained a here, right? A is an alphabet or a number? It is an alphabet. So it will return what value? Non-zero value. Yes. So R will be assigned with a non-zero value. Let it be any numbers, right? But it is not going to be 0. Next what happens? Something which is there in the double quotes will be printed as it is. What is actually here? The return value of is alpha num ch. Is alpha num ch is. Here, since it is being given in the double quotes, everything will be printed as it is, and R will be printed. What will be our R value? Something which is non-zero, right, will be printed. Clear? This is how your program works. See, here they have just represented that with a another symbol also. Even you can pass a dollar symbol. Dollar symbol is not going to be a ch value, right? So what will happen? It will return 0. Clear? Next is alpha. Is alpha is going to check whether the given character is an alphabet. Only alphabet. See, all numbers, alphabet and numbers. Alpha is going to be alphabets alone. Clear? Is alpha of character C. If I am going to get like this, is alpha of 3, what will happen? It is going to return non-zero value. See, if it is an alphabet, it will return 1. If not, it is going to return 0. If it is going to be an alphabet, it is going to return 1. And if it is something other than that, it is going to return 0. Yes, now let us take int num is equal to is alpha of 3. Take this now, int alpha of 3 is alpha of 3. since it is being given as alpha of 3, yes, 3 is a number, it is not an alphabet, so it will return 0. How about here, since it is an alphabet, it is going to return 1. Clear? Let us see that with an example. Yes. So what happens? Int main character, you got the character now. Anything which is being in the double quotes will be printed as it is. And ch get cat, we are getting, let us take the example itself. Yes, a is being obtained, isn't it? A is going to be assigned for ch. Now anything which is going to be in the double quotes will be printed as it is. This is alpha of ch. So alpha, a is an alphabet, so it will return 1. In case if I am going to give it as 0 or something, it will return 0. Yes. Yes. Next you have, is it a digit? So what happens? It just returns 1 if it is going to be a digit, or it is going to return 0 if it is not going to be a digit. So we just check it like this. Is digit of character C. Enter the character and you are obtaining the character now, and the return is digit character is. See, automatically characters are here, is digit of ch. So in case if in ch, if I am getting 1, think like that, if I am going to get 1, so if 1 is being obtained, 1 is a digit, so I will get 1 as the result. It is not because I have given 1 here, let me change it as 2. I am getting 2, since it is a number, I will get 1 as the result. In case if I am going to give the input as a, some alphabets, I will get the answer as 0. That's it, a simple programs. Yes children, we shall stop with this today. Yes, what did we see for today? We saw what is functions. What is a function? A part of a program. Yes, a part of a program is going to be called as what? Functions. It is classified into two. One is going to be built-in functions, the other one is going to be user-defined functions. Yes, what else we saw? What else we saw? We just saw the different types of user-defined functions. One was actually used when we use a header file named stdio.h, and others you can use when you use ctype.a. stdio.h, what are all the files that you functions you can use? Getchar, putchar, getch, and gets and puts. Yes, and what about ctype? In ctype is alpha num, is lower is not being thought yet. Yes, is alpha num, is alpha, is digit. This is what we have seen for today. Alpha num, al num is just specifies whether it is going to be an alphabet or number. Otherwise it returns 0 values. Yes, then whether it is alpha checks whether it is going to be an alphabet. In case if it is an alphabet, 1. If it is not an alphabet, 0. How about digit? The same. If it is a digit, if it is a number, it returns what? 1. And if it is non-number, if it is going to be anything else, it is going to return 0. Yes? Yes children, thank you. We shall continue with the rest in our next class.